Year 2030, Los Angeles. 4 years earlier, in 2026, during the dawn of a new Great Depression, the so-called Great California Lottery was established. Both the government and ordinary people supported its creation because everyone was desperate for some kind of escape from the financial crisis. But this lottery had one special rule. The winner could legally be killed before sunset, and then the prize money would lawfully go to the killer. However, there was one limitation. The use of firearms was strictly forbidden. And now, in 2030, we see Stifler. He is desperately fleeing from an enraged crowd. Everyone wants to claim his winnings. But the man holds his ground. He skillfully handles several pursuers, and then makes a desperate leap off a parking lot, landing in a random yard. But there is no salvation there either. His aunt and her accomplices immediately attack him, but Stifler takes them out with ease. After that, he breaks into a house through the window and encounters an elderly woman. At first glance, she does not seem to recognize him. To be safe, Stifler grabs her phone and smashes it, but soon the old lady notices a drone outside the window, broadcasting his location. At that moment, everything changes. The woman calmly pulls out a weapon and mercilessly pierces his head. It turns out the old lady knew exactly who he was. Raising her lottery ticket, she sends a liquidation signal. Within seconds, a special team bursts in, confirms the kill, and the old woman receives a massive check for $22 million. Now she is a millionaire and a news sensation. Meanwhile, in another part of the city, a bus is moving along the streets. Inside sits Katie, staring thoughtfully at a small Oscar-shaped keychain. Suddenly, her attention is caught by a man speaking on the phone, hurling insults at his own daughter for failing an audition for a commercial. Katie cannot stand it. She walks up to him, pretends to be a police officer, and threatens to call Child Protective Services if he does not change his behavior. The man instantly changes his tone. "I am sorry for yelling." His voice now completely different. An elderly woman nearby joins the conversation. She points out that Katie is far too young to be a cop. Katie admits that she is actually an actress and explains that she came to Los Angeles to revive her career after a long break. The woman wishes her luck and gets off at her stop. But then Katie suddenly notices in horror, her watch is gone. Lifting her eyes, she sees a billboard. Luis Protection Agency, a company specializing in protecting lottery winners. But Katie has never even heard of the California lottery and does not understand what is going on. The atmosphere grows tense. The people on the bus look angry and on edge. The whole city feels like it is about to explode. When she asks what is happening, the driver answers, "Tomorrow, lottery day." Meanwhile, the media only fuels the frenzy. There are 18 hours left before the draw. Ticket sales are breaking records, and the jackpot has reached an insane $3.6 billion. In parallel, we see Noel. At home, he hums the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme song while preparing his weapons. It turns out he also works as a bodyguard for lottery winners. At the same time, Katie finally arrives at the house where she rented a room online. But she quickly realizes that the landlady, a woman named Shady, had drastically exaggerated the ad. Instead of a cozy apartment, Katie finds herself in a complete dump. "This looks nothing like the pictures," she mutters bitterly. Shady turns out to be pushy and strange. The room is filled with her photos, she cracks silly jokes, and her phone rings constantly. "It's my damn mom. She has been calling me non-stop for 2 years, and I never answer. She just keeps saying, 'Shady, I love you.'" Katie is shocked. "My mom is dead, and you treat yours like that?" Shady has a boyfriend, an arrogant guy named DJ. The two of them constantly discuss the upcoming gigantic jackpot. At one point, DJ even slaps Katie across the face to test her reflexes. Outraged, she protests, but he calmly replies, "I thought you would dodge. You've got that martial arts school bag." Katie explains that it is only stage combat, fake fighting for movies. The next morning, Katie is awakened by the sound of a leaking toilet. To her horror, she realizes that her clothes have been soaked with sewage. She calls Shady, saying she urgently needs to get to an audition. In the end, the landlady offers to rent her clothes for $40. Katie has no choice. She spends her last savings on an ugly outfit and a taxi. On the way, the talkative taxi driver does not stop chatting for a second. She proudly says that she used to work in construction and even installed an alarm system and a panic room for a famous rapper. "Well, it paid good money," she brags. Finally, Katie arrives at the casting. But there is another blow. The secretary demands $400 just to participate. After paying, Katie begins to tell her story. As a child, she acted in commercials, but left her career to take care of her sick mother. "You are that girl from the spaghetti in a cage commercial, right?" The director recognizes her. Katie nods. After her mother's death, she decided to return to the profession. But at the most crucial moment, Katie absent-mindedly reaches into her pocket for her notes and instead pulls out Shady's lottery ticket. Panicking, she presses her finger against the scanner and accidentally activates it. The system immediately registers her as a participant and takes her photo. Katie hides the ticket and tries to focus on the audition, but the director begins mocking her, asking her to bend over and dance during her monologue. Frustrated, she demands her money back, but they refuse. In the corridor, she wishes good luck to another contestant, and in response receives aggression. Suddenly, all tickets get a notification about the new winner. Katie's face flashes on everyone's screens. The casting girls attack her. Even the casting assistant joins the fight. Katie panics, defending herself, not understanding why they all want to kill her. Searching for shelter, Katie runs into the nearest room, but accidentally ends up in a karate class. The students instantly pounce on her, and total chaos breaks out. They fight not only against her, but also with each other, since everyone wants to claim the prize. One of the karate students throws her straight through a wall, and she crashes into a yoga class. But the situation there is no better. The women in tracksuits also intend to kill her. A massive brawl erupts. In the end, the yoga instructor defeats everyone and begins choking Katie, cutting off her air. She seems doomed. But at that moment, Noel bursts in, crashing through the ceiling. He takes down the yoga instructor and pulls Katie to safety. He quickly explains he is a bodyguard for lottery winners and is willing to protect her for 10% of the jackpot. He hands her a smartphone for signing the contract and briefly outlines the rules. Katie has no choice. She agrees. From that moment on, Noel unleashes his full potential. His style resembles the fight scenes from John Wick. Flawless execution, using any object at hand, even Katie herself, and taking out enemies with surgical precision. When the chaos finally subsides, Katie quietly picks up his stun gun. She no longer trusts anyone. "Do you really think you're threatening me?" Noel smirks. He explains that the weapon fires protein-based enzymes and bioactive compounds that cause temporary paralysis. He easily takes the gun back and then carefully lays out the immobilized opponents so that no one chokes on their own tongue. He then explains. The lottery drone, already hovering outside, transmits the winner's location every 14 minutes, which means their time is running out. As they run out of the building, Noel explains the rules to Katie. Fans are only allowed to kill winners for money and no one else. They are also forbidden to use lethal ballistics. In other words, no firearms. But just then, a food truck cook suddenly hurls a knife at them. Noel reacts instantly, dodges, and leads Katie to a car. They jump in and speed off. On the road, he is stunned to learn that Katie has never even heard of the lottery. But at that very moment, notifications of her location are sent throughout the city. The hunt begins. Even an ice cream truck abandons children to join the chase. "Oh wow, that's the same girl from the bus," a woman exclaims in surprise. Among the hunters there is also the elderly lady from the bus. Noel explains to Katie, all they need to do is survive until sunset. But until that moment, anyone holding a losing ticket has the full legal right to try and kill her. Soon, a new threat appears, bikers and ATV riders. Noel pulls out 2 helmets and gives one to Katie. He slams the gas, trying to shake the pursuit. Molotov cocktails fly toward them. One hits the car and flames spread across the body. But Noel does not give up. At full speed, he crashes into an old warehouse and begins maneuvering between stacks of boxes, trying to evade the attackers. In despair, Katie asks, "How can I cancel my participation in this damn lottery?" Noel answers that the only way out is to leave the city. However, he honestly adds, no one has ever tried to exit the game before. After all, no one wants to give up a shot at the jackpot. At last, they find a secluded spot to catch their breath. "Get me out of the game," Katie begs. Noel looks at her in surprise. "Are you serious? You are already inside the system." He tries to persuade her not to give up, since he himself is invested in his percentage. But the client's wish is law. Sighing, he agrees to help her escape the city. But soon the bikers find them again, and the chase continues. Noel does everything possible to protect Katie, even shielding her from accidental blows during the pursuit. In the chaos, one of the female fans jumps into the car through the rear window. Katie quickly knocks the knife out of her hand, but the fight continues. Noel rips off the rearview mirror and smashes it against the attacker's head, then orders Katie to take the wheel. Terrified, she protests, "I don't know how to drive." But Noel does not listen. He climbs into the back to continue fighting the woman. Then, almost comically, he gently puts a helmet on the fan and literally hurls her out of the moving car. The bikers do not give up and throw another Molotov cocktail into the vehicle. Noel commands Katie, "Ram the wall!" The car smashes through, debris flying everywhere, causing the pursuers to collide with each other in confusion. In that moment, Katie grabs a helmet and delivers a powerful blow, knocking out the last biker. But the joy is short-lived. Their car finally breaks down and stalls. Desperate, Katie tries to run away, but Noel stops her. She fights back, using her acting skills from stage combat, still not believing in his true intentions to help her. Noel remains calm. "I just treat people the way I wish they would treat me." In response, Katie grabs some sand, throws it in his face, and lands a strong punch, breaking his nose. Noel is stunned by her strength, but instead of anger, he praises her. Then, as if nothing happened, he calmly snaps his nose back into place. At that moment, a police car pulls up nearby. Hoping for salvation, Katie rushes toward the officers. "Finally, real help! They want to kill you!" But just as Noel had predicted, the cops also intend to eliminate him. He intercepts their taser and begins fighting them, while Katie runs away. On the street, she notices a giant Pinky Poo Poo mascot staring directly at her. She quickly hides behind a map, but her lottery ticket begins vibrating. An update from the drone, broadcasting her new location. People notice the drone and realize she must be close. Panicking, Katie bursts into the wax museum, but a security guard blocks her way. "Sorry, we're closed for a week for renovations." However, he immediately recognizes her, not only as the lottery winner, but also as the little girl from the old commercials. "And by the way, I love spaghetti in a cage," he says with a smile. The guard assures her that she is safe here. He has a daughter the same age, and he believes the lottery is immoral. Katie hides among the wax figures, and at one point she stumbles upon a strange statue. Suddenly, Shady calls. She pretends to sympathize. "Poor thing, hang in there." But in reality, together with DJ, she is already searching for Katie on the same street. Katie asks her for a car, but Shady slyly replies, "Where are you right now?" while lying that she herself is at home. Katie hesitates until she hears the voice of the Pinky Poo Poo mascot in the background. At that moment, Katie realizes Shady is also hunting her. Right then, one of the wax figures suddenly says, "Hello," giving away Katie's location. Shady and DJ immediately try to enter the museum, but the guard blocks their way. "Sorry, closed for renovations. And anyway, you two are on the blacklist." He reminds them that once they did something indecent with the Tin Man statue, and ever since, they have been banned from entering. In response to the guard's refusal, Shady knocks him out, and together with DJ, forces her way inside the museum. Katie hears the noise and hides behind one of the statues, but soon DJ spots her and slams her onto a table. In the heat of the fight, Katie throws a bottle at Shady's head, then flings sand into DJ's face. The pair start beating her, but Katie defends herself, grabbing a staff from one of the statues. She finds a chance to run, but Shady kicks her in the back, knocking the staff out of her hands. In the next room, Katie has to defend herself again, this time with the broken remains of the staff. The fight shifts into the horror exhibit. With fewer weapons at hand, Katie improvises, dodging attacks by using walls, figures, and furniture. At one point, when Katie tries to escape, Shady hurls an axe at her, but it turns out to be a prop, causing no real harm. Katie presses a button, and heavy metal shutters begin to descend. But then she remembers Noel's lesson. Everyone must be kept safe. She returns to the unconscious guard and carefully positions him so that he will not suffocate. Then, at the very last second, she rolls out of the museum just before the shutters slam shut. Outside, a tour bus immediately announces her location over the loudspeaker. Noel makes a dramatic entrance in a stolen police car, scoops her up, and speeds away. Fans rush back onto the bus to continue the chase. Despite being rescued, Katie still does not trust Noel. She realizes, if he helps her leave the game, he will lose his share of the winnings.
You ever considered the possibility that I actually might be a nice person?
Sure, a nice person who loves and wants a super yacht.
I want a super yacht.
You so want a super yacht.
I don't want a super yacht.
You do.
I don't.
Super yacht.
At that moment, the tour bus starts ramming their car. Noel says it would be perfect to find a bomb shelter. Katie then remembers the talkative taxi driver's story. She once installed a panic room in the mansion of Machine Gun Kelly. Soon, they arrive at his house and try to come up with a pretext to get inside. The rapper thinks they are creepy fans. At that moment, the fan bus closes in. Katie grabs Noel's stun gun and points it at the rapper, forcing him to open the panic room. They rush inside. Noel notices that Machine Gun Kelly knows the code, realizing that he will almost certainly leak it to the fans. Instead of taking him along, Katie shoots him with a paralyzing dart and leaves him outside the door. As the door cracks open, one of the fans manages to slip his hand inside. Noel reaches for his gun to deal with him, but in panic, Katie thinks he is about to shoot her. She rips the weapon from his hands and fires at the fan herself. The door slams shut, and Katie keeps aiming the gun at Noel, accusing him of trying to kill her. Her words sting Noel, but he does not argue. Instead, he tries to diffuse the tension by joking about Machine Gun Kelly's panic room. Gradually, Katie realizes they share the same sense of humor. Noel reassures her that here at least they are safe. Even so, Katie stays on edge, keeping the gun ready. Noel sits beside her and starts sharing facts from his life, trying to prove that he really is a good man. At that moment, Katie's Oscar keychain falls out of her pocket. Noel notices it. After hesitating, Katie opens up. She confesses that she decided to become an actress because of her mother, who loved movies and film stars. Her mom gave her the keychain as a reminder. I will always be proud of you, no matter what. As a child, Katie made good money in commercials, but her father ran away with it all. Since then, she has been afraid that Noel would also betray her for money. I have done nothing to deserve such negativity, yet I constantly receive it. Even my therapist gave up on trying to change my mind, Noel says. His words touch Katie and she returns the stun gun to him. To lift her spirits, he delivers a motivational speech about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There were once 4 turtles. They were dumped into the sewer in radioactive slime. And what did they do? Spend their lives afraid of people? No, they devoted their lives to protecting New York and eating pizza. You must find the turtle strength within yourself. Katie asks why he is helping her leave the game. Noel answers simply, my priorities are straightforward. First, save lives. Second, earn just enough to keep doing it. Meanwhile, the crowd outside pounds harder and harder against the door. Shady slaps the rapper awake and drags him toward the pool. She lifts him with ease like John Cena and throws him into the water. When the rapper regains consciousness, Shady immediately demands the code to the panic room. Katie and Noel watch through the screen. Noel grows furious, realizing they must resort to drastic measures. He calls for a special operation codenamed Phone Strike and hides Katie's phone in a safe. Shady enters the code. The door begins to open. But suddenly, every phone in the room rings with an emergency alert. It is a trap. The devices begin exploding one after another, causing concussions and burns. In panic, people try to put out the flames. Katie and Noel seize the moment to escape. Noel even stops briefly to help one poor soul whose pants had caught fire in a very awkward spot. Outside, guards with armored vehicles and rubber bullets are already waiting. They announce that the evacuation is arranged only for Katie, but she insists Noel must come with her. Katie asks, "Are you working with them?" Noel explains that he once did work for Luis's company, but now he is a freelancer. Soon they arrive at headquarters. There, Katie meets Luis and learns that it is his security firm. She is unimpressed, especially when Luis starts mocking Noel and belittling his accomplishments. Most people would not have lasted 15 minutes without support, yet you survived several hours practically on your own. As an Asian, I am proud of that. I was not alone, I was with him, Katie replies. The girl demands that she be taken out of the city, but instead, Luis hands her a brand new iPhone 15, which by 2030 is already outdated. He tries to persuade her to stay in the game, insisting that she is in the safest place in the country. Only 4 hours remain until the end. He gives them a tour of the building and shows a wall with the names of all the winners they have saved. The last few are marked anonymous. Luis explains, some winners chose to risk it and refused to pay 30% for protection. They died, and their killers decided to remain anonymous.
Percentage does Noel get?
Sorry, Noel?
Yeah, he saved me way before you guys entered the picture.
And it is thanks to him that I am still alive. Katie negotiates that 30% of her winnings will go to Noel. Even he is impressed by her gesture. She teases Luis. You look impeccable, but I would bet money that you would rather challenge Celine Dion than go to war. In response, Luis, trying to demonstrate how tough he is, pulls a few mini grenades from his pocket. Later, through surveillance cameras, they see fans gathering outside the building. Luis insists. The best plan is to evacuate Katie through a hidden underground bunker using decoy cars. In addition, her appearance will be altered so that no one recognizes her. When they are left alone, Noel thanks Luis for his help, hoping their past disagreements are behind them. Luis calmly replies that he holds no grudge. Katie and Noel receive medical treatment. During the process, Katie asks Noel what he spends the money on that he earns by saving lottery winners. This time, he decides to share his story. He used to be a mercenary in a private military company together with Luis. Their squad was sent all over the world to eliminate dangerous people. But one day, Noel realized that not all their targets were truly bad. That moment became a turning point. He walked away right in the middle of a mission and tried to convince Luis to do the same. But Luis did not listen. The mission failed. The entire squad was wiped out, and only Luis survived. Noel believes that if he had stayed, the team might have lived. Now he uses his money to support both the families of their victims and the families of fallen comrades. In return, Katie shares her story. Her father was her manager and forced her to work since the age of 8. When she turned 18, she wanted to manage her own finances. Her father only said, "Of course, I will be there for you." But the next morning, he disappeared, taking all her money with him. Katie had to take care of her sick mother, who died a month ago, leaving her with only $600 and a bus ticket to Los Angeles. "My father chose money over me and my mom, so how could I ever trust you?" "But now I do," she admits. An employee brings in a device to alter her appearance. Katie places her face into it, and the machine overlays a digital mask, turning her into an elderly man. But Noel grows suspicious. Evacuating her from this relatively safe place makes no sense. Moreover, the company earns only 30%, and such funds are clearly not enough to maintain a bunker and an army of guards. And Luis himself had recently admitted they had few clients. "Do you think it's a setup?" Katie asks. "I don't know," Noel replies. On the way to the convoy, Noel shares his theory. Luis only pretends to protect winners, but in reality, he kills them. That is why more than half of the players who claimed the jackpot this year preferred to remain anonymous, because they had been eliminated. "We're trapped," he says. Luis leads Katie toward the car, but she insists Noel must come with her. Luis refuses, promising he will protect her himself. He repeats the same phrase Katie once heard from her father before he betrayed her. "I will be there for you." Instantly recalling the past, Katie strikes Luis in the groin. At that moment, Noel seizes the confusion, opens the garage doors, and lets the mob of fans flood in. As people pour inside, Noel fires darts at the guards. Thanks to her disguise, the fans do not recognize Katie and rush past her. Noel manages to hand her a key card stolen from one of the guards. "Run," he tells her, staying behind to fight. A swarm of guards jumps on him, while Luis tries to beat information out of him. Meanwhile, Katie sneaks into one of the decoy cars with autopilot, meant to lead the fans away. As the vehicles roll out, Luis realizes Katie is inside one of them and sends his men in pursuit. Katie crawls out of the trunk, rips off her mask, and gasping from the heat, takes the wheel. She swerves off the planned route. Katie slams the gas, racing toward the city exit. Luis's team immediately spots it and rushes after her. Meanwhile, a blogger launches a live stream, announcing, "The drone has lost Katie's trail." This means that if she makes no mistakes, she can survive until the end of the game. Viewers begin cheering for her, raising glasses to the new heroine, Katie Kim. But when Katie reaches the city limits, Luis calls her. He orders her to turn around immediately, or else he will kill Noel. Over the comms, Noel says, "Don't think about me, just keep going." Luis shoots Noel multiple times with the lottery gun, threatening to finish him off. Katie agrees to meet and turns the car around. Luis gives her coordinates to approach. He brings Noel to an old theater and begins ranting about his mercenary worldview. For him, money is the only thing that matters. Katie, in his eyes, is not even a person, but a walking ATM. Then Luis reveals the horrifying truth. During the very mission from which Noel had walked away, Luis killed an entire family for their gold. Afterward, he slaughtered his entire squad so he would not have to share the loot. Noel, who had blamed himself for years, finally realizes all this time his guilt was misplaced. "You killed our team for money?" "That's right," Luis replies coldly. Meanwhile, Katie has only 15 minutes left. She pulls the lottery gun from the glove compartment and races into the theater, where Luis is holding Noel captive. Seeing them on stage, she threatens to harm herself so no one will get the money. Luis does not take her seriously, but Katie declares, "I know you were going to kill me anyway, so let me decide whether you get rich or not." "Go ahead, blow your brains out," Luis laughs. "I will wipe your prints and tell them I was the one who killed you." But then Katie shows her phone. She is live streaming everything on social media. Her voice trembles with pent-up pain. She confesses to her loneliness, to having no family, and that the only person who truly cares about her is Noel. She is ready to pull the trigger, but Luis stops her, tossing the keys to Noel's handcuffs and offering a deal. Katie pretends to surrender, and then suddenly delivers a powerful Spartan kick, sending Luis flying off the stage.
Bravo! Daniel Day-Lewis wishes he had your range.
But the live stream exposes her location, and crowds of fans storm the theater. Katie grabs anything she can find to defend herself. Amid the chaos, Luis grabs her leg, trying to kill her. At that moment, a police officer rushes in, but Luis simply tosses him aside. The mob keeps pouring into the hall. Noel dives into the fight. He grabs a chair and uses it as a shield, singing the Ninja Turtles theme. It's Ninja Turtle time. The chair eventually splinters, freeing his hands. Katie bites Luis's arm and throws the keys to Noel. He breaks free and engages in a final showdown with his former partner. At that moment, Shady bursts into the theater wielding a katana, but Katie reacts instantly. She knocks the weapon away and takes Shady down with a brutal headbutt. Only 4 minutes remain until the game ends. More and more fans flood inside. Noel and Luis fight fiercely. Katie climbs up the stage decorations. Luis arms himself with an axe, while Noel uses symbols as improvised shields. After a grueling battle, Noel finally gains the upper hand. Meanwhile, the elderly woman from the bus climbs toward Katie. "Hello, nice to see you. Your watch is running late." But Katie shoves her down. Noel begins destroying the stage structures to cut off the fans' path. But Luis's men do not give up. Half of them form a human ladder, while the rest pin Noel down. Luis reaches Katie, and the two engage in a deadly fight. Katie slips and hangs from the edge. Before falling, she uses her Oscar keychain to hook and pull the pin from Luis's grenade. The explosion kills Luis, and Katie plummets downward. But just before hitting the ground, the fans catch her with a massive flag. Now they can truly be called fans. At that very moment, the killing time expires. Katie survives, and keeps her jackpot. She embraces Noel and promises him 50% of the winnings. Lottery officials hand her the check. But instead of giving a thank you speech, Katie unexpectedly announces, "I no longer want to be an actress." 6 months later, Katie and Noel run several charitable projects together: a free protection agency, a school of self-defense and stage combat, and a center for children from disadvantaged families. Noel opens a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themed pizzeria. But none of that keeps them from enjoying life. In the final scene, the two of them set out on a journey aboard their very own super yacht.